6 isometric postures that will reverse years of poor posture and neglect. It's no exaggeration to say that nowadays, most people spend between 8 and 10 hours sitting at work. Add to that the commute time going back and forth, and those hours relaxing on the couch when you finally get home. By the end of the day, it's easily 12 to 14 hours in the same position. As you might imagine, our bodies simply weren't designed for this. Think about your ancestors who moved constantly, hunted, and walked long distances. Sitting all day is a modern invention that is literally destroying our muscular and skeletal structure. Perhaps because of your current age, the problems haven't appeared strongly yet. Just that occasional neck or back pain that you ignore. But the truth is that in the long term, these problems are inevitable and will only get worse. You need to act now. That's why today you'll see 6 isometric postures that reverse years of postural damage, before your body simply can't take it anymore and completely locks up. Before we begin, please tell us through the comments your name and the city where you're watching our content from. We'd love to know. Posture number 1, high plank. The high plank is fundamental because it develops strength throughout the entire core, creating a natural belt that stabilizes the spine against gravity. When you spend hours sitting, the core muscles progressively weaken and lose the ability to maintain the spine in a neutral position. The muscles worked include rectus abdominis, internal and external obliques, transversus abdominis, which is the deep core, spinal erectors, serratus anterior, deltoids, pectoralis major, quadriceps, glutes, and even stabilizing muscles of the feet. It's practically a full-body exercise disguised as a simple movement. To execute it correctly, start on all fours, with hands directly under shoulders and fingers spread. Extend one leg at a time backward until you're supported on the balls of your feet. Your body should form a perfectly straight line from head to heels. Activate the core by pulling the navel toward the spine. Keep the neck neutral, looking a few inches ahead of the hands. Actively push the floor through the palms and lightly contract the glutes. The key is to maintain this active tension, not just hold the position passively. The main errors to avoid are letting the hips drop toward the floor, creating lumbar hyperextension, raising the hips too high, forming an inverted V, letting the head drop or looking up, misaligning the cervical spine, not engaging the core adequately, just holding the position passively, letting the shoulders rise toward the ears, allowing winged scapulae instead of keeping the serratus activated, and holding your breath instead of breathing normally throughout the entire hold. Start by holding for 20 to 30 seconds and gradually progress to 60 seconds. Perform 3 to 4 sets with 45 to 60 seconds of rest between them. If you have shoulder or wrist problems, you can modify by supporting on forearms instead of hands. Number 2, prone cobra. This exercise is one of the most powerful for reversing thoracic kyphosis, that hunchback in the upper back region that develops when you spend hours hunched over the computer or phone. The prone cobra specifically strengthens the thoracic extensors that become weak from chronic curved posture, reversing years of postural neglect. The muscles worked are middle and lower trapezius, rhomboid major and minor, spinal erectors especially in the thoracic region, multifidus, gluteus maximus, hamstrings, infraspinatus and teres minor, which are external shoulder rotators, and latissimus dorsi in the scapular retraction function. To execute correctly, lie completely prone on the floor with legs extended and together. Position arms alongside the body with palms facing up or thumbs pointing up. Contract the glutes and lower back muscles to lift the chest a few inches off the ground. Simultaneously, roll the shoulders back and down, lifting the arms off the floor and strongly squeezing the shoulder blades together. Keep the neck in neutral position looking at the floor. Don't hyperextend the cervical spine. The sensation should be stretching in the front of the body and intense contraction throughout the entire posterior chain. The main errors you should avoid are hyperextending the neck looking forward instead of keeping it neutral, overloading the cervicals, lifting the chest too high, using the lower back excessively instead of focusing on thoracic extension, not squeezing the shoulder blades together adequately, losing the main postural benefit, letting the shoulders rise toward the ears, not contracting the glutes, allowing compensatory lumbar hyperextension, rising too high too quickly before having adequate strength, and holding your breath, making the exercise unsustainable. Start with holds of 15 to 20 seconds and progress to 30 to 40 seconds. Execute 3 sets with 60 seconds of rest. If you have herniated disc or acute lower back pain, consult a professional before performing this exercise. Number 3, doorway pectoral stretch. Shortened pectoral muscles are one of the main culprits for rounded shoulders and forward-falling posture. This isometric stretch releases the tension that literally pulls your shoulders forward, deforming your posture over the years. What many people don't know is that you can strengthen your back as much as you want, but if the chest is tight, the shoulders will continue to be pulled forward. The muscles stretched are pectoralis major, especially the clavicular fibers. Pectoralis minor, which is a deep muscle that when tight causes serious postural problems, pulling the scapulae into protraction. Anterior deltoid, biceps brachii in the short head, and coracobrachialis. To execute, position yourself in an open doorway. Place the forearm vertically against the door frame with elbow bent at 90 degrees and positioned approximately at shoulder height. Keep feet in a light lunge position, with the foot on the same side as the arm being stretched, positioned a few inches back. Gently lean your entire body forward through the door, keeping the torso upright until you feel a moderate stretch crossing the chest and front of the shoulder. The intensity increases as you advance further through the door. Resist the impulse to swing and maintain the static position. The main errors are forcing the stretch beyond the point of moderate discomfort, potentially causing injury, rotating the torso instead of keeping it square, reducing effectiveness, excessively arching the lower back to compensate for lack of shoulder mobility, positioning the elbow too high or too low, changing which fibers are stretched, swinging or making abrupt movements instead of maintaining static position, not keeping the shoulders down, letting them rise toward the ears, and holding the stretch for insufficient time. Hold for 30 to 45 seconds on each side. Perform 2 to 3 sets, alternating sides. If you have shoulder instability or previous injuries, adjust intensity according to your tolerance. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Having constant access to science-based information is what will make you progress with health in the long term in the world of bodybuilding. Number 4. Hollow body hold. The hollow body is exceptional for developing core anti-extension strength, teaching the pelvis to resist anterior tilt, and deeply strengthening the spinal flexors that maintain the neutral or posterior position of the pelvis. People with poor posture frequently have weak anterior core, allowing the pelvis to tilt forward and force the lower back into hyperextension. The muscles worked are rectus abdominis intensely, internal and external obliques, transversus abdominis, iliopsoas, which are the hip flexors, tensor fasciae latae, quadriceps, especially the rectus femoris, serratus anterior, and deep neck flexor muscles. It's primarily an anterior chain exercise with absolute emphasis on the core. To execute correctly, lie completely on your back with legs extended and arms stretched above your head beside your ears. Actively press the lower back against the floor. This is the most critical aspect of the exercise. Contract the core and lift the head, shoulders, and legs a few inches off the ground simultaneously. Your body should form a slight concave curve, like a banana or canoe. Keep legs together and fully extended with feet pointed. Arms remain straight beside the ears. If it's too challenging, modify by bending the knees or bringing the arms closer to the body. The main errors include allowing the lower back to arch and lose contact with the floor, completely nullifying the benefit and potentially causing injury, raising the legs too high, making it too easy, not keeping arms and legs fully extended, reducing difficulty and effectiveness, excessively tensing the neck, pulling the head up instead of using the core, holding your breath, making the exercise unsustainable, starting too difficult and losing form quickly, and letting the legs separate or bend. Start with holds of 10 to 15 seconds and progress to 30 seconds. Execute 3 sets with 45 seconds of rest. This exercise is contraindicated for those with acute lower back pain or herniated disc without professional supervision. Number 5. Wall Angel. The wall angel is one of the best exercises for reversing rounded shoulders because it simultaneously works strength and mobility, strengthening the scapular retractor muscles while stretching the chest. The wall provides constant tactile feedback, teaching your body where the shoulders should be, something you completely lose when you spend years in inadequate posture. The muscles worked are middle and lower trapezius intensely, rhomboid major and minor, infraspinatus and teres minor, which are external rotators, posterior deltoid, lower serratus anterior, which depresses the scapula, and thoracic spinal erectors, while the rotator cuff muscles work to maintain external rotation while the scapulae retract. To execute, stand with your back against a flat, smooth wall. Position feet about 6 inches away from the wall with knees slightly flexed. Press the lower back relatively flat against the wall without forcing a completely flattened position. A small natural curve is acceptable. Raise arms forming a W with elbows bent at 90 degrees, upper arms parallel to the floor. Actively press the backs of hands, forearms, and elbows against the wall. In the isometric part, gently push the elbows and hands back to the wall while squeezing the shoulder blades together and down. Keep everything in contact with the wall during the entire hold. The main errors are excessively arching the lower back, trying to force arms to touch the wall, compensating for lack of thoracic and shoulder mobility with lumbar hyperextension, letting the hands come off the wall, indicating limited mobility or weakness, raising the shoulders toward the ears instead of keeping them down, not maintaining the elbows at 90 degrees, changing the angle and reducing effectiveness, placing feet too far from the wall, reducing the challenge, forcing a perfect position before having adequate mobility, potentially causing injury, and forgetting to breathe normally during the hold. Hold for 20 to 30 seconds initially, progressing to 45 seconds. Perform 3 sets with 60 seconds of rest. If you can't keep your arms on the wall, that's okay. Work with the range you have and improve gradually. Number 6. Isometric glute bridge. This is possibly the most important exercise for people who sit all day, because chronic sitting causes glute amnesia, where these muscles weaken and literally forget how to activate adequately. The gluteus maximus is the largest muscle in the human body, something that 99% of people don't know. And when it's weak, everything else in the body compensates inadequately. Weak glutes allow the pelvis to tilt anteriorly, causing excessive lumbar lordosis because there's no strength to pull it back to neutral position. The muscles worked are gluteus maximus primarily and intensely, gluteus medius and minimus as stabilizers, hamstrings including biceps femoris, semitendinosus and semimembranosus, lumbar spinal erectors, transversus abdominis, and multifidus, with the glutes being the primary hip extensors and externally rotating the femur when activated correctly. To execute, lie on your back on the floor with knees bent and feet planted flat, separated at hip width and positioned relatively close to the glutes. Arms rest alongside the body with palms down. First, perform a slight posterior pelvic tilt, gently pressing the lower back toward the floor and tucking the tailbone. Maintaining this slight tuck, powerfully squeeze the glutes and lift the hips off the floor until creating a straight line from shoulders to knees. Don't arch the lower back more, the movement comes from the glutes. Maintain this top position with maximum glute contraction, feeling them burn intensely. Distribute weight evenly through the feet. The main errors include excessively arching the lower back instead of using the glutes to elevate using wrong muscles and potentially causing lower back pain, positioning feet too far from the glutes, reducing glute activation and overloading hamstrings, pushing primarily through heels instead of complete feet, not actively contracting the glutes, just passively lifting the hips, letting the knees fall inward instead of keeping them aligned, raising the hips too high past the straight line, using momentum instead of control, and not maintaining the posterior pelvic tilt during the entire execution. Hold maximum contraction for 20 to 30 seconds initially, progressing to 45 seconds. Execute 3 to 4 sets with 60 seconds of rest. This exercise is safe for most people, but if you have acute lower back pain, start with reduced range. Now let's go to the bonus exercise that perfectly complements these postures. Bonus isometric posture. Dead hang. The dead hang, or dead suspension on a bar, is extraordinary for decompressing the spine and reversing the compressive effects of sitting for hours. When you hang, gravity literally pulls your body down, creating natural spinal traction that increases space between vertebrae, relieves pressure on intervertebral discs, and releases accumulated tension. This exercise also tremendously strengthens grip, which is fundamental for practically all pulling and carrying exercises, in addition to improving shoulder health by allowing the glenohumeral joint to move through its entire range in traction. The muscles worked include all forearm muscles responsible for grip, latissimus dorsi in elongation, lower trapezius, rhomboids, complete core in stabilizing function, and the rotator cuff muscles that work to keep the shoulder stable while hanging. To execute correctly, find a sturdy bar that completely supports your weight. Grip the bar with pronated grip, meaning palms facing forward, with hands approximately shoulder width apart. Let your body hang completely relaxed, allowing the shoulders to naturally elevate toward the ears. Keep legs straight or slightly crossed to avoid swinging. Breathe normally and focus on relaxing while gravity does the decompression work. Start with holds of 10 to 15 seconds if you're a beginner, gradually progressing to 30 to 60 seconds. Execute 2 to 3 sets with 90 seconds of rest to allow grip recovery. If you can't hang completely, use a step or bench for partial foot support until you develop sufficient strength. The main errors to avoid are forcing shoulders down instead of allowing natural traction, swinging the body, or making abrupt movements, holding your breath, excessively tensing the neck, and trying to hold too long on first attempts, causing excessive grip fatigue. This exercise is contraindicated for people with acute shoulder injuries, serious spine problems without medical guidance, or during advanced pregnancy. With these 6 isometric postures plus the bonus exercise, you have a complete arsenal to reverse years of postural neglect and rebuild the structural health of your body. If you enjoyed this, and want to also discover another exercise widely practiced in Asian communities to heal years of neglect with your own body, we have a video appearing right now on the screen showing each of them better. Don't miss it. Thank you for watching until here, and God bless you, my friend.